06.
We say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
I wish that I could freely dream and be judged from within, haunted by a power that cannot see past my skin. My views are viewed as ignorant, my truth always denied. My history is shrouded in a spider web of lies. Isn't this America?
Well, welcome back to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. I'm your host, Larry Ellison. In studio with my brother from another, Dr. Bradley is in the house with us, giving us a checkup from the neck up.
2 hours already gone, man.
In the can. On their way to the
unbelievable
National Archives.
I'm telling you, you can't get them back.
No, making history here.
That's right.
Making history here. So definitely, and also joining us in studio. Not even gonna say former. I want you a broadcaster here. You're always a broadcaster here. Kevin, Doctor, Reverend, Brother, Professor,
Lecturer, everything.
Brother,
the brother with everything.
Kevin Peterson is here, looking good.
Praise the Lord, praise the Lord.
Looking good too, man.
Thank you, Jesus. Praise the Lord.
It's continuing to fight out there, for equality. One thing, Kevin doesn't get discouraged. That's what I love about this brother. He don't care who is in opposition if he feels is right, and that's where you have to be. I understand that because a lot of times, change doesn't come easy. You see the other side; they are going full tilt. They want change. They don't care if the person that's pushing it is has 91 indictments. They don't care as long as he's pushing their agenda. They could care less. We have to be that mentality, not for criminal behavior, but just for making sure that everyone's rights are being protected there. So again, we want to thank our sponsor, Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company. For all your mortgage needs, get branch manager Cora Holbrook a call at area code 781-342-0252. Guarantee Mortgage is located at 75 State Street in downtown Boston, Mass. Guarantee Rate Mortgage Company, guaranteed to exceed your expectations. Like I said, we have a lot going on. Matter of fact, Deputy Superintendent Nicole Grant is going to be calling in about 30 seconds, gentlemen. So I want to grab her call. She's going to be talking about this Faith in Blue event coming up on on Friday with the Boston Police Department. So since she calls in with that, we're going to get back to our topic. Matter of fact, she should be calling in any second. And she just texted me, said she's going to give us a call here, and we will get into that. So while we're waiting for her call, again, want to remind her that the Faith in Blue marquee event at the Norman B. Leventhal Park, 130 Congress Street, Boston, Mass. Friday, October 6, 2023, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. It'll be free entertainment, free food, free parking. A lot of free stuff going on this week. That usually attracts our folks there to these events. Is when it's free. Also on Thursday, MAMLEO, in collaboration with the Boston branch at NAACP, has a Faith in Blue reception for October 5th, 2023, from 6:30 to 9. This shouldn't interest you, Kev. This is our Faith in Blue at the Harvard Club. I didn't even know this place existed. Of Boston, 374 Commonwealth Ave, Boston, Mass. 02215. RSVP to mamleoinc@gmail.com. Professional attire is required, so you have to wear your collar. Yeah. We got you.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. All right. And so, like I said,
not my first time to the Harvard Club.
Oh, see, I've never been invited.
So only certain folks are invited.
I didn't even know this place existed.
I didn't either. I'm not one of those individuals.
Mass Admin Common.
I'm an academia. As far as I can get is the BU Club. I can't get beyond the BU Club.
Hey, listen, I can't get past the Y. So,
that's only because I went to BU. So I know I'm alum. So that's why I'm there.
It's you guys are in rare form this morning. So like I said, also, Kevin, just update folks on your event coming up as well on the 8th.
Yeah, it's reparations, and it's about leadership, more broadly speaking. But to the specific issue, we need to educate ourselves around what reparation means. As we said in the last hour, it's just not about the money. It's about other things, developing ourselves, as Mathematics was saying. How do we repair ourselves in the wake of slavery and systematic oppression, and what that's done to us? How do we begin to repair ourselves and reconcile with each other? There's so much dysfunction within our community that can point to, certainly, to slavery, but we still have to have systems of accountabilities and ways and methods to repair ourselves. October 8th, Sunday, next Sunday, 7 p.m.
Reparations Boston and Spoken Word.
Reparations
Sunday,
Boston.
October 8th, 7 p.m. 611 Columbia Road at the Comfort Kitchen.
I'm just curious. Isn't there some municipalities somewhere around the country who have already got
Evansville, Illinois.
Okay,
what passed the reparations?
What did they do? What did that look like? Well, are you aware?
I'm very aware. I wouldn't say I'm a reparations expert to the extent Jamal is, but I'm aware of what's going on around the country. And in Evansville, a reparations bill was passed that would allow for a $25,000 check to be cut to every resident who had been discriminated against around redlining and housing discrimination. So it was very specific, very narrow.
But there was nothing there to change that practice, though. That policy, that law, that structure, that institutional biases.
Well, no, they began to look at geographical redlining. They began to look at housing patterns and adjusting that municipality around what housing looked like.
So that's where I want to go. I want to make sure that we not only get the money, but we also make sure that the future generations and the policies are changed so future generations are not affected.
And I love where you're going with it, as far as it's not. See, people think reparations not just monetary, right? I mean, look at our school system here in Boston, and actually throughout the Commonwealth and throughout the country, right? That reparation that needs to be repaired. There's no way we should be spending 1.4 billion with the B in the city of Boston for a declining population and no elevation of the learning that's taking place inside these buildings. Matter of fact, we're shuttering schools. Matter of fact, most people aren't even aware that there are no more middle schools any longer. It's from K through 8. K through 7, and then 7 to 12. So you're mixing adults and children, which I never thought.
That's not a very good recipe.
No,
that's a recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
Do we have a call?
No, that's Mathematics calling back.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the deputy. She said she would be calling in.
Just to get back onto the other areas, because I think it's important that. First of all, that we're not doing this in a vacuum. There's other jurisdictions around the country that are thinking about the same thing, and so I think we can learn a lot from what are the obstacles that they were facing, how they kind of got around those obstacles.
Yeah, in North Carolina, just to inform, in North Carolina, in Asheville, they have a reparations process in place. Their focus is land reform, so they want land back. As part of the repair, old plantation plots of land. Those black people want land.
Yeah, I mean, and I can definitely understand that. And I can definitely understand, getting, as Larry was saying, being paid for services rendered. Yeah. However, if you stop short of, if you just get that, you're stopping short, because future generations of black people who are coming in will not be able to benefit from that reparation, because I paid that generation. Now it's done.
And just to inform a little bit more, in California, it is all about money. It's a $2.3 million allocation to everyone who can connect themselves.
And I would really caution them on that. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not saying that money shouldn't be a part of it. Well, I am saying that structural change, institutional change, public policies should be a part of that reparation as well, because we're suffering from that in generations. I mean, because think about it, we went from slavery to Reconstruction to Jim Crow, and one would say that we have been in civil rights was a Reconstruction as well as Obama's a Reconstruction, his election. So we have all these different layers, of fight for full citizenship, right? And that should be addressed.
But see, it's that analogy, right? Teach me to fish, I'll eat forever. Feed me a fish, I'll eat for the day. And that's, I don't want us to be on that day.
No, you're wise around that.
Because you're right. And that's why I love the approach that you're talking about doing, is reparations being in more than just that context. So I think that's the call we've been waiting for. Good morning, caller. Is this Deputy Superintendent Nicole Grant?
Good morning. Yes, it is. How are you?
Good morning. This is welcome to At the Round Table with MAMLEO.
Oh, hold on. Just let it have a moment.
Thank you for having me.
Hold up.
I
Hold up.
apologize
Let us have
for
a
the call.
moment. Let us have a moment of silence. Nicole Grant. I mean, when I heard that Nicole made deputy, I jumped for joy.
Wow.
I can't think of a better person. Nicole, girl, how you doing? I am so
good,
proud
thank
of you.
you.
I am so proud of you. Oh my God! I
you
can't.
so much.
Oh my God! I can't think of a better person. Heart's in the right place.
I
Oh
gave
my
her a
God.
shout out at an event I was the other day, and sometimes you have to kind of fake it, but it's very hard. She's the
Yes.
type of person that
Yeah.
when you say it, you actually mean it. And I told him it's the first time in a long time I've seen them put a round peg in a round hole. Right?
Brother, I
In the
mean,
community
from
engagement.
cadet to deputy superintendent,
Man, pretty good.
man, girl, you're good. I appreciate you, and I'm so glad that you
You
called.
guys are making me blush. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Larry.
Whoa,
Always
you're
thank
welcome.
You guys so much.
With that said, we've been talking about your upcoming marquee event, Faith in Blue, at the Norman B.
Correct.
Leventhal Park at 130 Congress Street, Boston, Mass. 02110. Friday,
Correct.
October 6, 2023, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Free entertainment, free food, and free parking. So Deputy, I'm going to give you a formal title because you're calling into that. I know we are friends. You're more like my sister than anything. So when people were asking, and I loved your explanation the other day, I'm going to let you talk about the event, but this one thing that stuck in my mind when they asked you why there and not in Harambee Park and whether, and you said our folks need to experience and explore other parts of the city that we normally don't. So because at first I was like, yeah, why not at Harambee Park? But that made perfect sense to folks to remove themselves, because I think about how we don't travel, we don't see other parts of the city. So thank you for highlighting that on that question. But please let folks know about the upcoming event that you're kind of hosting.
Well, it's our bureau that's hosting
Yeah.
it. So it's pretty much just a collective effort throughout the department. We have community service officers that are helping with this event. There's folks in the clergy that are helping with this event. There's everyone that's helping with this event. We're really excited about it. This is the second year that it's part of the marquee event. I apologize, you guys.
Something in the background with you.
No, I think it's
And
Nicole.
Larry, I'm doing what you said.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. She's bored in the plane. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So pretty much, we have folks that are coming in. It's an opportunity to build bridges. It's an opportunity to break biases. And it's an opportunity to reach out to clergy that we don't have relationships with, and they don't have relationships with us, and they don't know all the things that the department does. Sorry.
No, and that's something we were speaking about, because MAMLEO is also hosting an event on October 5th, Faith in Blue of everything, trying to re-engage with our clergy, because that is an important part. I was at a B Black Minister Alliance event recently, and I was very discouraged. I think there might have been 7 clergy there, and that including the folks that were online. So even there's a vacuum in leadership and new blood coming in to that profession as well.
Right. And there's so many younger clergy members that are in, the city now that are out there doing their thing, and it'd be so great for folks to see them and get to hear about their word and get to hear about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's very important, and actually we're looking at some of them folks to be able to join on Friday as well. So I'm hoping if there's any callers that hasn't heard from myself, my office, or any of the officers, please reach out so they can be part of this event as well.
Okay, so that's the Faith in Blue marquee event at the Norman B. Leventhal Park, 130 Congress Street, Friday, October 6, 2023, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Free entertainment, free food, free parking. Deputy, I know you've got to catch a plane, so any parting remarks before we let you go? And we'd love to have you in studio at some point.
I will definitely get there. I promise. I don't know about 7 o'clock in the morning, but I'll get there.
We're here till 10.
But I just want folks to feel, a part of it and feel part of the community. Take the time to come down, come talk to us, come meet me, come say hi to me, come meet the commissioner. That's what it's all about. And that's what we want people to come down and have a good time.
Well, one of our guests in here is Kevin Peterson. He's going to be coming down. He's a clergy, so he's going to put this out on his site, and we're going to push this out.
Oh,
This will
thank
be
you.
rebroadcast on Monday as well, and we'll push this out on MAMLEO
Thank
as
you
well
so
as some of our other media outlets that are going. And this is why we wanted to start up our own broadcast, because when we have important issues like this,
That's right.
we can connect with the community in a way and quickly.
I'm sorry, it's just me. I'm in my thought.
Okay.
But sister, before you go, I just wanted to say, wherever you're going, I hope you get there safely. And I ask the Lord to form a hedge of protection around the plane and make sure that the pilots and co-pilots and all the people who are servicing you are doing well and in full capacity, and just get back to us safely. But I'm telling you, girl, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. All right. You be blessed. You be blessed.
Thank you. Safe
Absolutely,
travels. Like I
guys.
said,
Have a wonderful
hopefully your
weekend.
return will be as good with the shutdown that things won't get delayed.
Exactly.
But she's actually
I'll be driving.
Oh, okay. She is currently my boss, but like I said, she'll always be my sister first and foremost. And I thank you.
Thank you.
And appreciate
Thank you.
you.
And I'm sorry, guys, if I can just
Sure.
remind folks they can go on BPD News and the news, feed to be able to get the information about all the flyers for all the districts citywide as well.
All right, BP News. We'll push it out again before we close out. Again, thank you for calling in. Like I said, we definitely have to get you in
Thank you.
studio. Again, congratulations on your promotion. I know she's fairly new into this role, but she jumped in with hit the ground running.
I've been there, done that. I know how it is.
All right.
You'll be okay. She'll be fine.
Oh, no,
Thank you, guys.
absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. Have a safe trip.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So,
Bye-bye.
folks, you're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. Calling number here is 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. So we've got mathematics on the line. And is he still there with us? And Kevin, so Kevin, there was another issue that came across that you sent it to me, and then I got it from numerous other people's in response to something that the mayor put out about the tall ships coming to Boston in 2026 and making it seem like Carnival Cruise Lines was coming here and wasn't such a. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do want to raise this issue around the tall ships coming, which in and of itself is a good thing. Who doesn't like tall ships? They're wonderful to look at.
They mean something different to us, but go on.
It means something entirely different for us in terms of the transatlantic slave trade, of course. But there were some comments that Mayor Wu made in context to the tall ships coming, and she made these comments last week, and I think the black community should know about this. Everybody should know about this, and we should be thinking about this in a very serious way. She made statements about the Boston Harbor being a safe harbor for everyone, and that historically that's all it's been, is a safe harbor for everyone. You got it. So she'll say, and I don't want to sort of mischaracterize her words, so I want to read what she said. This is in the, if you don't mind, this is in the WBUR report. Wu said having the tall ships around the world, from around the world in Boston in 2026 will be a reminder for all of us in Boston at our heart, the harbor has been providing a safe harbor to all. People in the black community need to respond to that because it is historical erasure. Tens of thousands of black people came through that harbor in horror. Their lives sold into a life of slavery, uncompensated labor. They're buried in graves with no names on their tombstones. These black people came through the harbor in horror. And Mayor Wu has the audacity to say that this harbor is a place that has provided safety for everyone. Now, how could she, as the leader of this municipality, ignore the fact that slavery came through Boston, through the Boston Harbor? It is almost like saying someone celebrating Auschwitz or some other German area in Europe without saying that this place used to be the site of a Holocaust camp. That would be erasure, and that would be anti-Semitic, right? I think the black community needs to, and I'm looking for folks to stand up and make a statement about this type of erasure, because it is a form of racism when you don't acknowledge the suffering of thousands, tens of thousands of people who came through this harbor in horror.
Okay, but in addition to that, and you're absolutely correct, there was thousands of black people who were returned back to slavery.
That's right.
Through that harbor when they actually escaped to the north to try to escape the heinous and the ugly behavior of slavery.
That's right.
During the Fugitive Slave Act, they were actually captured
That's
by the
right.
Boston PD.
There's a flyer that says
Exactly, and taken to
The harbor.
taken to Faneuil Hall, got on the boat in the harbor and went back to the south. So to sit there and say, I'm sorry, my octave just went up, but my point here
Deservedly so.
is this: it hurts me, it angers me, because they would. I'm just going to piggyback on what you just said. They would never ever do that to the Jews.
Never.
They would never said that
Yeah.
to the Jewish community that parts of Germany has been a safe haven for Jews.
Yeah. So, mathematics. Let's
kidding me?
let's bring our caller in. You've been listening to Kevin and Dr. Bradley's.
If I wasn't a Christian,
perspective, we're in church. Perspective on this matter. Do you want to weigh in on it? Did we lose him?
I'm sorry.
Oh. Caller, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
Yeah, I got you on my headphones.
Oh, okay.
I keep transitioning back and forth.
No problem.
No, I'm really just listening right now and getting educated.
Okay.
That's part of, what this whole event is about, is really seeing who should be held accountable, how this whole dynamic works. But these brothers definitely handle it, and I'm just listening and being educated myself at this present moment.
And she needs to be held accountable for the words and for the harm that's expressed in the I'm sorry.
No, good. No, I'm saying but to that point, and this is where I go in quite often, is that do we need to also be held accountable? Because with Dr. Bradley and you in math, and what I'm learning as well, but what you guys are teaching is a lot of folks don't know the history. They see that as like today, where you go down there to the port authority there, and you get on a cruise ship, right? Not understanding that that's not what was there. That's not what was waiting for us. That's not what took us out or brought us in. So are we just as guilty? And believe me, I'm not defending this, of not taking the time to educate and learn our history.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
that's on us.
Because someone has to be, and I'm calling on collective black leadership. I don't want to be the only person speaking to this issue.
But you're the only person that, other than someone forwarding me your response to this, that it even flagged this.
Well, thank God I had the leisure to read the report, right, and happened to see it. So I am, thank God for that opportunity. But I'm calling on black leadership, and we're trying to organize something on Tuesday, where we come out and we say, Mayor Wu, the context and the content of your comments bordered on racism, because it eliminated the activities of the transatlantic slave trade, where black people came into the harbor in horror.
So have you reached out to our elected officials, black and white? Have any of them?
I've sent out this, what you sent, I sent it out to them on yesterday.
What has been the response?
There's been no response.
They're not going to be.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, now I'm just hearing this. I did not read her. At least I did not have the time to read it. I'm just going on what you're saying. But just knowing the history, it angered me, as you can see, the way that I responded. Because, when you have, and I was a member of the Boston Police Department, and you know what I mean? So not during that time. But what I'm trying to say here is that harbor was not anywhere near, the harbor was not anywhere near, a refuge for people that look like me, especially with my skin tone. There was no way near it. So to say that is insensitive, is a lack of intelligence in terms of that particular issue. And I think that is reprehensible in my mind. And I think you need to give the black community a resounding, complete, and thorough apology for that.
So Kevin,
in my opinion,
can you just give folks a little more context on her actual wording there? What she said? Because I think you have that in the
Well, I'll read it again
Sure.
because I didn't read it carefully the first time. Wu said having the tall ships from around the world in Boston in 2026 will be, quote, a reminder for all of us that Boston at our heart has always been about providing safe harbor to all. And then she goes on to say, so it's incredibly fitting that the city where our democracy took its first steps will serve as the final stop on Sail 250 Regatta. Even that, democracy took its first steps. While in 1776, while there were tens of thousands of slaves in Boston.
Wow.
How can you speak about democracy?
Well, I mean, I think that
Right.
to put in context, and the same context that always has always been is not true. I think that Boston
true.
is becoming would be more appropriate language, and you hope that Boston is a beacon.
It's
but
an
to
insult.
say
It's just an
that
insult.
It has always been that
always,
way.
yeah.
It's almost trying to erase
Yeah.
the history of Boston. Boston, I think sometimes people think states and cities in the north didn't have slavery, that somehow they were immune to it. It couldn't be any further from the truth. Matter of fact, I mean, we went through a very tumultuous time here during busing here in Boston, right? And this wasn't back in the 1700s, and this was in the 80s. I was a product of forced busing in South Boston, where you couldn't walk into these communities. So to say that Boston has always been inviting, and matter of fact, when people talk about gentrification today, that says another way of that Boston is not so inviting to people of color because they can't afford to live here. So yeah, I definitely, that's why I was asking this is where we get to the importance of elections, right? And why they matter is that the fact that we have a general election coming up and that no one is weighing in on this comment.
And let me tell you something. This isn't the first time that Mayor Wu has done this. When she owned a restaurant in Chicago, a little outside of Chicago, she had on the menu a number of drinks that were named after characters from Gone with the Wind. Now, I don't know if you know the movie Gone with the Wind.
I do.
But it is a movie that that supports, that valorizes slavery.
Yeah.
And so there was a Scarlett O'Hara
O'Hara.
drink.
Okay.
And our Mayor Wu, before she was mayor, before she came to Boston, oversaw that kind of behavior. Any black person going into that restaurant and saw a Scarlett O'Hara drink would have been insulted.
Well, it would be like a Jewish going and having a Hitler.
There you go.
Right.
And so this isn't the first time Mayor Wu has done. So my point is, and I'm not calling her a racist, but progressives can be racist. So we all say, oh, that she's a progressive, so that was a mistake or that was an oversight. Progressives, as conservatives, can be racist. And we in the progressive community sort of gave her a pass around the Scarlett O'Hara drink. This was during the election, and people said, well, progressives can't be racist. But if it walks like a duck, we'll use cliche, right? And then we had the issue of Miss Wu coming onto the city council and voting for the conservative white, not Kelly, his name is escaping me, for president of the city council. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
But there's a pattern going on here where it's not favoring in the around the conditions of in the black community.
Yeah, it was.
There's a problem. There's a problem.
The guy from the North End there, the city council that represented the North End.
His name.
It escapes me. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
Good morning. I'd like to make a quick question. Caleb Peterson said, "Gone with the Wind" was also it's a movie that's based on a book, not just the movie itself.
Yes. And I'm sorry.
My comment goes with Michelle Wu, and when it comes to politics, again, I'm not going to tell you what my political affiliation is, but this man, if you're a Democrat or Republican, it's still racist. It's just two wings on the same bird, just on opposite ends. Period. There's no. I don't care who you are. There is no excuse for what any politician says that is going to offend any black person.
That's right.
Full stop, bro.
That's right.
Well, we don't excuse it if Donald Trump says it or the Republican Party says it. We don't excuse it. We shouldn't excuse it, regardless of what initial is beside someone's name. Wrong is wrong, right is right. and so we have to hold it, because then we become hypocrites, right? If we don't call it out. That's why we do here, right, folks. We give them a dose of truth serum, because it's just not, like I said, we become hypocrites here. We don't. But again, there's not enough people that hold them accountable, and the way you hold people accountable is at the ballot box, right? Because that's what I don't know if part of the segment I wanted to get into was a lot of the things that what the mayor did run on: education, mass, and cash. It's a travesty down there when you're talking about reparations and what's going on. I think that mass and cash is the gateway into the heart of the black community. Mm-hmm. It's not very welcoming when you see what's taking place down there, Kevin. So I want to pivot, and we're going to keep continuing with this, but I just want to get your thoughts on how would you grade this administration when it comes to reparations. Clearly, I don't think you give them a favorable grade, but overall on the education, the things that were the staples that the Mayor Wu ran on was education and doing something with mass and cash. Now the plan is to go over down there with kind of somewhat overwhelming force and to remove it, but I don't think we're addressing the and then the education piece.
Yeah, I would agree. Incomplete. I mean, there's some things that are really disturbing. The public safety plan, a clear agenda in terms of how the public safety initiative or agenda flows out of Schroeder Plaza. With clarity and transparency. We identified, I don't know if you're familiar with the work that New Democracy Coalition has been doing over the last year. We've identified a murder triangle, and I think you as police officers know it. It starts in the south end and spreads out through Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan as the flat part of the triangle. But there is a murder triangle where 90% of all murders occur consistently. We compiled a 3-year study. And then above, beyond the murder triangle, we've asked for a response from the police department and Mayor Wu around that, and there's been silence. So she gets an F in that area. The commissioner gets an F in that area, just in terms of them not responding. Now, we did the research. We held 4 different community meetings along with the data compilation. So layered upon the murder triangle is the shooting triangle. So 95, I believe, % of all the shootings occur within that triangle that we've identified. South End up to Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan. So he gets an F.
So 2 things that I'm glad you highlighted there, and I think one thing that doesn't get enough attention is that people don't pay attention is the number of homicides that have taken place just inside that encampment.
That's right.
Just inside.
Mass and cash.
Yes,
yes,
exactly.
Yes,
just inside
absolutely.
that encampment.
Yeah.
And for what you and Dr. Bradley, feel free. What you highlighted, it doesn't get enough attention, is the number of people who were shot or shots fired that could potentially have taken someone's lives. And I think that gets downplayed and intentional, in my opinion, and doesn't get the attention that it deserves, because every time the trigger on a gun is pulled, someone could lose their lives, and the trauma,
and it's traumatizing for the people who live in the area. I live in the triangle, right? And I can't distinguish between a firecracker and a gunshot. But we know, just based on the statistics, that it's more likely to be a gunshot.
Right.
Right.
I'm just curious. You said that first of all, I commend you on the study. That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
I'll send it out to you.
I would like to read that. I would like to look at the numbers behind it. And, I may be able to use that in some things that I'm doing. But my question is that you said you met with people in the community?
We had community meetings, yeah.
And so
we had 400 people. We took surveys. We had focus groups.
Okay.
Yes.
So my question is, was the police involved? Was it included in those meetings?
No, we asked the police not to be involved because we wanted total transparency and honesty with the people so those were closed meetings.
That's interesting.
But we invited the police to come and listen to our findings.
Okay, that's
on 3 different occasions.
And did they show?
No.
That's interesting because one of the things that Boston PD still pushes the idea of being a community policing department, right? So the very cornerstones of community policing, one of them is community partnership. So you have something that glaring, a study that obvious, that eye-opening,
murder triangle,
and the police is not involved. How can you now say I'm working with the community when you refuse to actually meet with the community on issues such as
it can't be selective?
Us or the police?
No, the police.
Right,
Yeah,
and it can't
Okay.
be selective members of the community.
And that's been the problem. It has been selective. So the mayor's office and I think the police department from the high ups, they organize meetings with selected clergy who didn't participate in the study.
No.
Who weren't really putting their
So you're building your own audience.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm gonna build those individuals who are not, so recalcitrant and difficult.
Right.
not connected with the people,
Oh,
and not
God.
doing your qualitative and your quantitative studies, engagement, right? In terms of compiling the data. They don't want to meet with us, who've done the work, but they want to meet with
think Jack
with
Nicholson's
Reverend Chickenbone.
and a few good men. You can't handle the truth.
Who I call bootleg reverends, but anyway.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you.
If it fits,
Yeah,
if it
but,
fits,
but,
yeah.
but my point is because if you really want to solve the problem, you got to meet with the people who are going to have the difficult questions.
That's right.
Because sometimes those questions will
right.
give you a solution, or give you a thought that you
I've
never
heard
even thought about.
Congresswoman Presley said many times, those who are closest to the pain should be closest to the solution. Mathematics, anything you want to say before we let you go, sir?
And that Michelle Mom needs to be fixed immediately because so far there's no answers in the city council as well. Yeah, I don't know how to say anything good about them because it's just the same old game. No solutions, asking the same old questions, but nobody's getting the answers that needed to.
I think they have the definition in the dictionary is insanity. I could be wrong. Did we lose mathematics? Oh,
Yeah, no,
he switched. Oh, okay.
It's okay.
So, mathematics, anything you wanted to say, sir, before we let you go? I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Do I need to go?
Oh no, you said. Yeah. So again, this is why it's so important. This type of connection, this type of involvement with the community. This is why we don't fear having folks from the community when they call last night. Hey, can you make some time? We push back some things because this is important because this is a community base. This is what partnering with the community looks like.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Not trying to censor or I'm not here to advocate. I'm not here to bash the mayor. I'm not here to bash the commissioner. But we're all held accountable. It can't just be folks under you that are held accountable and critique. Constructive criticism. I find it healthy and helpful. What I'm hearing is disturbing that you guys would put this report together, and I know because I reached out to Kevin and I'm like, okay, they wanted to have this open thing. I'm like, I'll attend, but then they told me why, and we didn't attend, but we wanted to because we feel we're partners, we're part of the community. But to then hear that you compile this and that no one from the police department and leadership attended to hear from the community, I think that speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes because just as a former command staff member and as a former member of the police department, you have already done the hard work. So you're telling me, okay, a small percentage of the address in this community is generating a large percentage of your 911 calls. Now, keep in mind, now I'm a manager, and I also have personnel issues and low personnel. If I address that small percentage, I'm impacting the workload on my people.
That's right.
So the captain, the lieutenants, and all those guys should have been a part of that discussion. So to say that, to me, you're saying, I really don't care about that community.
Yeah.
I really don't care about the safety and security of that community. In fact, I want you to sell and move out. To the gentrification was where I'm going with it.
Or they don't care about Reverend Peterson, and that's fine, but care about the issue.
Well, but
care about the issue.
This is why when I brought up Mary
not
Franklin, and every time when they would say, "Oh, I don't," I said, "Okay, let's peel back whether you like Mary Franklin or you like Kevin Peterson."
Yeah.
The issue is a legitimate issue, and the answer is yes. Do we have unsolved murders? The answer is yes. Do we have an issue with violence in the community? The answer is yes. So, what are we talking about here? All right, personality, and as we do, folks are dying. Caller, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So again, we have an election coming up. Kevin said that I asked him what politicians have responded to this. They're aware of this, and he said he hasn't heard from anyone, if I'm not mistaken, right?
as of today, this morning, no. I've sent out the community alert last night.
So
you received.
This is why isn't our community asking these questions as well? Because we all know at City Hall, you're familiar with it. You work down there as an intern under Council Yancey, if I'm not
Chief of
mistaken.
Staff for Gary Saunders and Yancey, yeah.
That we all know that it's the unknown. That's not unknown, but hey, is this a constituent? Are they a voter? Right? If you're not a voter and you call in complaining, all you are is an annoyance. But if you are a voter, you get a little bit more attention to your concerns and your matters, because they know you're saying that you're at least interested in making sure that you have people there representing you. So unless that changes, and again, how do we make that pivot for folks?
Well, we got to continue being vigilant around voter education. We got to do the registration, but we're up at comparable levels across the city in terms of race and registration.
But are we executing?
Are we executing? and so we got to do that education. We got to what you're saying. We got to know what the issues are, and we got to know that.
Let me put it in this analogy, Kev. You look great because you've been exercising and all that, right? And so I have a gym membership. It doesn't do me any good unless I walk through.
That's right. That's right. You got to exercise the right to vote
and go in there.
Exercise the franchise. No, go ahead.
No. I'm saying,
but and this is why MAMLEO, this broadcast is so important. We're going to be doing some work around, getting flyers on doors over the next few weeks or so, door hangers, and we got to continue to educate. But people need to take our people need to take responsibility and make the connection between the murder rate in the triangle and their representation on the city council level. And we have two brilliant city councilors who oversee the triangle, Anderson and Brian Worrell. They are in the triangle. People in the community need to take responsibility to say, there is a murder triangle, and we need to hold our elected officials accountable. We need to raise the issue, but we also need to vote around the issue.
So what is the outreach or the trying to bring our youth into this conversation? Because they're the ones, like this recent one with at the family gathering up in Franklin Field, and a 15-year-old is still fighting for her life. And I think another sibling and these are students in schools. What is the outreach to bring in more younger people into this conversation?
I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know. It's not my area of focus. We can't be everywhere, right?
No, I agree. But that's
it's so important,
because in a lot of ways in the city here, they're the ones who are driving, like South Bay and places like that. They're driving this violence, and I don't know why people, and maybe they're just not expressing it or showing any interest in it, aren't as alarmed that people at such a young age are showing such violence.
Beating up cops in the chokehold, and it's really distressing. Witnessing the incident over in South Bay, not through the media and the comments, it was it speaks, and I agree with Commissioner Cox on this issue 1,000%. They're not there to be babysitters.
Absolutely.
We in the black community are not doing a better job in terms of overseeing our family relations. Now, it's tough because we got all these kind of things coming against us black people that are distractions, but we have to keep your kids in sight if they're under 14. You don't let them go run in the streets where you don't know where they are for hours.
But parents think if they have this, that somehow they're connected. You don't know where they are. Even with the tracker on, you don't know what they're doing, right?
So we got to do some real serious accountability. I haven't been the best parent. No one can be a perfect parent, but we got to do a better job in terms of parenting, so that we don't see the stuff that we saw at the Commons and South Bay, because it makes it more difficult for us as advocates and elders to advocate on their behalf in terms of their safety. How can we make the case for them if our parents allow them to go out and raise havoc on the street?
Right? I think what we're seeing today is the outcome of past public policies in the past. around incarceration, mass incarceration, war on drugs, and all those, where you socially engineered the black man out of the family. I think this is really the ramification of that policy.
To add to that, I think also we rely too much on government and what these these programs that somehow, if we create another name of a bureaucracy, that they're going to replace parenting. And parents have kind of stepped back and said, oh, okay, we get them out there on the bus, and now we have an after-school program, or we have, the Boys and Girls Club, or some football league, that these folks have been tasked to raise your children. And you are sadly mistaken if you remove yourself from the involvement and how the people are more involved in your child's life.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We're just saying it differently.
Exactly. No, I'm saying I think they're connected, meaning that people rely more on something else to do their job.
I mean, I understand that it's difficult, but you know what? It was difficult for our mothers,
but there was a village concept.
You know what I mean? It was difficult for our parents who came from the South, who could not read or write, and then had to get the most menial jobs because they could not do better.
Had to get multiple of them jobs.
Exactly. Right. So, so to say it's hard, I hear you, but what's happened is that when you have a system, an institutional government who's saying, you know what, I will give you this if you remove him from the family, thereby engineering the father out of the family dynamic. And then you talk about kids not understanding and respecting authority. You created the monster.
For our listening audience, I'm let you wait, Kevin. They need to go on YouTube or Google and bring up and watch the movie Claudine. Have you seen that movie? Yeah. James Earl Jones.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Where the single Muhammad it speaks. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
You've got to go, Claudine. You've got to pull up, and you'd be like, "Oh my God!"
I will watch it because I'm telling you something. You know what? All respect for authority stops at home. It starts at home. I wouldn't even remotely think about putting a cop in a headlock at 14 or 15 years old because my parents would have had my head.
Listen, we know growing up when there was certain, you ran when the police came. You didn't run to them. But this is why we're having such a shortage in teachers.
Yeah.
They had a job orientation the other day at the Bowling Building. It was from the Boston Police Cadet Program, the Fire Cadet Program, EMS, the State Police Cadet Program, and there were representatives from our armed forces there. It was in the school committee building room. There probably, I'm going to say, was less than 35 people there interested in jobs with the city or the state police. I mean, that said a lot when there are so many opportunities. Like Boston Police alone is short close to 400 officers. EMS is looking for at least 50 people. All the other folk, and that no one is interested in these professions. That I remember when I took the police exam, 25,000 people took the test. The last test, 2,200. And they've already exhausted the list. There is no help coming. So if you want, and it's an honorable profession, and it's a profession where you can make a good living, right?
Raise a family on it. Raise a family on it.
It's been tarnished in some ways, rightfully, to where no one wants it, and because people don't have respect for in teaching. These classrooms are vacant, and teachers are fleeing. This is because of our young people are afraid of our young people, right? Because if I'm a teacher and I can get a choice between teaching in Newton or Boston,
I'm going to Newton.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
We need new leadership. We need new leadership to look at. Yeah, I know we keep saying it, and leadership is generational. So
but honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, bro, and I'm gonna let you, it gave me some hope when I saw Arroyo and Laura lose their seats. But I think it was not their policies and stuff. It was behavior, right? Behavior.
Yeah.
That should have been a part of it, but the bigger part is what have they done to move our cause?
Well, you're going to find people making mistakes, and you're going to find corruption everywhere, and they were a manifestation. I'm in retrospect, I'm glad that they're gone.
Same here.
Also, because they were not serving as role models, and people were. Lay people were scratching their heads around what is going on. People don't pay attention to politics. Why was this woman, who represents us driving without a license and registration and insurance and all the kind of allegations?
Right. Who passes ordinances about these things, right? And, in the city, and they have people out every day, law enforcement as well, ticketing people for not having their children in the car seat, right?
So, I wish both of them well and healing, but we need to find better leadership in our community, and sometimes it's not always elected leadership, and sometimes it's not always church leadership.
It's not.
So it may arise from other places, but we need to continue to work and mentor and provide the opportunities.
Right.
This event on the 8th next week. That's a venue. That's an opportunity for potential new leadership to emerge.
But gentlemen, it's almost like that's discouraged, right? Because not everyone is built like Kevin and Larry and Dr. Bradley, who will continue no matter what punches they throw. Most people, you hit them once, or you just give them a look and they're done, or they find their price.
Yeah, or they find their price. Yeah, and we've seen that over and over and over again over the last doing our work. But as a preacher, I'll go to the Book of Lamentation.
Okay.
And say, I'm a prisoner of hope.
Right.
I'm a prisoner of hope.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm
hope alive.
Keep hope alive. So I'm going to continue to provide whatever opportunities I can provide in any way I can provide it, so that this new leadership emerges. And we're going to have failures. We're going to have setbacks. And right now in Boston, there is no clear leadership.
No.
There is no clear leadership.
No.
But we can work to create the conditions.
Good luck. Dick, any remarks before we let you go?
Dr. Bradley, you all right?
I'm fine, man. I'm just shaking my head. I'm just discouraged, man.
Dick, any closing remarks, sir?
I'm like, are you kidding me?
That once again, this year's an election year. 2 city councilors.
It's an election year every year, but go ahead.
Mike Baker and Mike Marity, they're bowing out gracefully, so to speak. And that when it comes to Boston politics, it's going to continue to be the same old until real black people get spread up. I got so much to say, but it's very short time. What I can say is that if Boston doesn't wake up in this election year, then they're going to be asleep forever. And I'm sad to say it.
They're taking a nap.
I'm not one of the people that's going to stay asleep. We as black people have got to finally get up, create our own independent black party, have people within our community that have our interests in mind, like Malcolm X said. Show me someone from the community that isn't an entertainer, that isn't a ball player, that isn't someone from outside of that community, that really is the people's people.
No, as I said, when he said black party, not block party, because I know which one we'll go out and embrace.
Or backyard party.
Right. Kev, I mean, we've got a couple of minutes. Get me pumped up to be enthused, because I'm just not feeling it. Not you. I'm just not feeling encouraged, like I said. And as I wind down my time in my profession, I'm not walking away from my commitment and trying to help. But I guess it'll be a lot harder for me to drive in to Boston if I feel like I'm wasting my time. It'll be easier for that angel on the shoulder to say, hey, don't waste your time. Like now I come in, I'm here. But as I remove myself from the real commitment that brings me in here, work, motivate me to come in.
The old civil rights song, keep your eyes on the prize.
Okay.
Be faithful. Be loyal. Things will change in ways that we believe in miracles.
Yeah. Well, I see Sister Priscilla has that on her show. Change is going to come.
Yeah, change, and it will inevitably. But we have to be faithful to each other, and loyal to each other, and do that mentoring, work to create the conditions where the best of us can rise. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do with this reparations thing. Every Saturday, beginning January, every other Saturday, we're going to be at the Grove Hall Library talking about reparations in the context of leadership, open table, people coming in from off the street, and we're going to hear them, and we're going to embrace them and try to mentor them, give them information.
Are you getting any support from folks that don't look like us in this reparations conversation?
Oh, yeah. I meet with those white folks over in Cambridge every 2 weeks, and they are committed to what we're doing, but they're respectful. They're going to be at this thing on the 8th.
Okay.
Right? about 25 of them. They're particularly focused around the Faneuil Hall piece, but there are people out there who want to be in support of what we're doing. They see the Myrtle Triangle, they see the achievement gap stuff, but we I feel bad arguing with white people when we don't do the work that we need to do.
I'm shaking my head over here.
We got to the Murder Triangle. You got kids who are being murdered after 9 o'clock.
That's
who are 14 or 15 parents.
Yeah, that is our issue. We need to be dealing with that.
That's right. Yeah. One of the reasons I think you heard about this, I know we're wrapping up. We called for a volunteer curfew in the black community. Parents need to get their kids off the street in the black community by 9 o'clock if they're under 14. They shouldn't be running around the street.
Not on the
that wouldn't have happened with us. Right?
Not on a school night. Not on any night, but definitely not on school.
But my parents and our parents were not trying to be our friends. Our parents would have been an authoritative figure in our lives. You know what I mean? Now you got parents who are like, well, this is my buddy. I want to hang out and play video with my kids. We have lost generations of parents due to social engineering.
You're right. Yeah.
We have lost them. Now, how do we get them back? That's another conversation. You know what I mean? Do we just accept that loss and break camp and focus on the latest generation? But we have to deal with the fact that we can't allow our community to be socially
before we close out, Reparations Boston's and Spoken Word Sunday, October 8th at 7 p.m. at 611 Columbia Road in Dorchester, Mass. Like I said, Spoken Word, a lot of information, folks. Please come out. This is why we dedicate so much time to this broadcast, to this most important